Good afternoon and welcome to the start of the 2023 IHF Beach Handball Education Week, where leading experts from the world of beach handball will share their knowledge and experience throughout the next 7 days. My name is Adrian Costeu. I'm a member of the IHF media team, and I will be your host throughout the next week in this trip around the world of beach handball. Together with our experts, we will touch interesting parts of the sport, from the last trends in attack and defense, special situations, from the coaches and the referees and also specialists' perspective. To begin with, I would like to say welcome and let you know that these sessions will be in English, but outline that we also have translations available in French, Spanish, and Arabic. These are simply at one click away by clicking the globe icon in the Zoom session. Only the persons entering the Zoom can access these translations. The IHF Virtual Academy is a new and innovative element for the worldwide education of important multipliers, coaches, referees, delegates, and PE teachers. And it will also serve as a platform to provide live seminars, e-learning seminars, and license courses for different target groups in the future. And all of these sessions, not only the beach handball education, fall under the umbrella of the IHF Education Center, available at ihfeducation.ihf.info. All these sessions are being recorded and will be available on this website for on-demand video. Okay, this was the introduction. Let's go to the first host of this Beach Handball Education Week. We will have Mladen Paradzic, the coach of Croatia, the Croatian men's beach handball team, the world champions, and an IHF lecturer, which will review the last beach handball world championship in Greece and try to explain the Croatian success from the coach point of view. And the theme of this seminar is the attacking strategies that left Croatia, that had Croatia during the world championship, and how did Croatia have this success over the last years. Mladen, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Adrian. I'll just share the screen now with you, so we could start with the presentation. Will you just confirm to me if you see the screen now?
Yes, it can be seen.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Yeah, now it should be okay. So, dear beach handball friends, and I would like to welcome you all and thank you for having time to watch this lecture within International Handball Federation Online Education Weeks 2023. As Adrian said, I'm Mladen Paradzic, and currently I'm positioned as a head coach of National Beach Handball Selection of Croatia. And today I will talk about how Croatia's men's team attacks and how does it look like from a coach's perspective. In the brief introduction, I will just show you the agenda. You will just tell me if do you see now the pointer?
Yes, we can see the red pointer. It's okay.
Okay, great. So I will just start with the history of Croatian beach handball, and then I will try to explain and find possible reasons why such a small country like Croatia is so successful in this team sport. And in the main part of the presentation, I will try to put the focus on small things that, in my opinion, matter in accomplishing a good result. And I will do it using video analysis of previous world championships that was held in Greece last year. And at the end, I will just have a few take-home messages for all the spectators. So let's start with the presentation, with the history of Croatian beach handball. I need to say that I was lucky enough to be involved in Croatian beach handball from its early beginnings. Since 2002, I was part of the first national selection, and later also had different roles in Croatian beach handball, such as being referee and also being a tournament organizer, and currently as I said, I'm a head coach of the national selection. So just to say that in 2002, beach handball entered Croatia by forming the national selections from 4 indoor clubs. And as I said, I was lucky enough to be a member of one of those clubs. So I was involved in the first action collecting team for European championships that was held in Cadiz in Spain, 2002. I need to say that Croatia was complete tabula rasa regarding the beach handball. So meaning that we didn't know anything about beach handball these days. Meaning that when we went to Spain, we learned the rules from the book while traveling to Spain. So we really didn't know anything. But soon after the first European Championships, first tournament is organized, maybe 1 month later, the same year. And I need to point that persons that organized this first tournament are still active in Croatian beach handball. For example, Sincha Ostojić, that's the director of national selections, and also one photographer that organized this first tournament in Croatia, and his name is probably most of the beach handball community knows him. It's Joseph Čaraja, that owns the company named Collective Images, and he is responsible for all of those pictures within this presentation. So I'd like to thank him for doing this for almost 20 years now. So after the first tournaments are organized in Croatia, Croatia had the first appearance in World Championships in Egypt 2004, where the semifinals is reached, and the fourth place was placed. A year after, Croatia got first appearance in World Games in Duisburg. Beach handball was an invitational sport in Duisburg in Germany, and their first medal was won. It was a bronze medal. 3 years after, first gold medal has been won in both categories, in men and women category. Here I will talk more about men competition because I was involved more in men part, but also women were also pretty successful during these 20 years. So in 2008, both women and men won its first gold, and nobody expected that, but yeah, it happened, and that I could say with this part that the golden era of beach handball in Croatia has begun. So here is just the summary of all the medals that have been won during past from 2005 until today. So in European Championships, Croatia won 4 gold medal, 2 silver medal, 1 bronze. In World Championships, 3 gold medals, 2 silver medals, and 1 bronze. And in World Games, in each appearance, Croatia won some medal. So in total, that means in men competition, 18 medals, 8 gold medals. And what is even more important from my perspective, that Croatia, since the start of Croatian beach handball from 2002, have never missed a big competition. So it is really important to say, which reveals and raises the question how such a small country like Croatia is so successful in this beautiful, I hope, soon Olympic sport, but definitely attractive young discipline. So in the next slide, I will try to explain maybe and find the reasons for that. So Croatia started with the beach handball in 2002, and from that year we had 3 or 4 national tournaments that were part of national championships. In the first years, we had a lot of teams that were included in beach handball. More than 20 teams were taking part in each of those tournaments. So at the beginning, we had quantity, but during those 5 or 6 years, we didn't have so good results. Later, after maybe 2007, 2008, we also had 3 or 4 tournaments that were part of national championships, but this time, smaller number of clubs and teams participated in these tournaments, but those maybe up to 10 at most. So those teams were more serious and more beach handball oriented, I would say, meaning that previous teams in the first 5 or 6 years were more viewed the beach handball as a fun and fun game and not as a serious sport. So what we had is a centralized competition during all of those years, and it is important to have. This centralized competition is really important to have, so meaning that each time rules apply, the same rules apply within the same within each tournament. So it is important. So when somebody says something about the infrastructure, that it is that it would be also important, I would just partially agree, because of course you cannot play beach handball without having beach handball courts. But in our case, I would say that maybe until 2017, we only had 2 beach handball courts in Croatia that were settled in capital city of Croatia, in Zagreb. And was it a disadvantage? Maybe, but on the other hand, maybe it could be also an advantage, because then you have also centralized place where all selections could practice together, because you don't have other option. And in that part also, exchange of experience among the players and coaches also plays an important role in establishing the system, beach handball. And it was like this in Croatia. Only 5 years ago, we get to another course. Now we have 4 courts in Zagreb, and also in other cities we have maybe up to 10 courts in total. So it's not so big infrastructure, but it is enough for our organization. It is enough. Also, what is the most important thing, I would say, is to have a good structural hierarchy within each country. For example, in our case, Ministry of Tourism and Sport is responsible for transferring the funds related to sport to National Olympic Committee. This National Olympic Committee then transfer the funds to all federations within that are dealing with different kinds of sports. And of course, for handball, Croatian Handball Federation is responsible, and Croatian Handball Federation deals with indoor competitions and beach handball competitions as well. And then within Croatian Handball Federation, there's a team of maybe 10 to 20 persons that deal with all organization things regarding beach handball, including media staff, background crew. So all those officials are really responsible for functioning of Croatian beach handball. And also another aspect that is pretty important, but maybe it's not. It is, of course, it is important that indoor handball is pretty popular in Croatia. So you have a lot of players that you can recruit to have beach handball players after. But also, I need to say that during these 15 or 20 years, we had a lot of players that came from other sports like volleyball or basketball. As a matter of fact, in this national selection today, in the present national selection, we have professional basketball players. It is possible also to recruit other persons, other players from other sports as well. So all those reasons, I would say, could be good preconditions for having a good beach handball system within the country. But was it is it enough to accomplish great results? Maybe, but also, in my opinion, some other things, some, I would say, it's not secret ingredient, but some smaller things, game segments, could be also those that matter a lot. So in the next few slides, I'll try to explain using video analysis from the previous championships what I think when I say that small things matter a lot.
Mladen, just to stop you a bit,
Yeah.
1 second, just can you come closer to the laptop, to the microphone, because there are the sound is not so good at times, so we can't hear you very well. So if you can come closer, that would be perfect. And one more thing, for the attendees here, you can ask questions which will be answered at the end of Mladen's presentation in the Q&A section of this Zoom. So thank you, Mladen, for understanding. So I won't keep you now, and you can continue your presentation, please.
I will try to talk louder, then maybe it will be helpful. So I just wanted to point here the path of Croatian national selection from the first game till the last, until the final game during the World Championships in Krakow, in Greece. So because I will use those game segments and video clips to explain what I taught later. So Croatia played against Uruguay, Ecuador, and Spain in the first round. Then in the main round, Croatia played against Argentina, United States, and Greece. And in the knockout stage against Norway, semifinal against Greece, and the final match against Denmark. So I need to point here that all of those games were really tight. There was no easy game for us, and it is really outstanding that I need to congratulate to all the teams this way, because that just means that our beloved sport is constantly growing, and that it is present on each continent equally distributed, and it is really nice to know that it is like this. So the aim of this was just to explain important game details from the coach's perspective. So I will just put small segments and try to explain what I thought about it. So at the beginning, when you are starting with collecting the team, you need to think that you need to have each position within the team well covered. What does this mean? If you have one position that is not so well covered, you will have the weakest link within the team. If you have the weakest link, all opponents will know for that weakest link for sure fast. So without having the weakest link in a team, the frequency of winning the game will increase significantly. So when attacking, as I said, each position needs to be covered up. Still, there is a solution. If you have maybe one weaker position, you can try to mask it with the weakest. You can try to mask it with putting the specialist on that position. For example, if you put the specialist on the left or right wing, you can mask this weakest position. But in that case, that leads to the question of the highly skilled playmaker position. So playmaker is usually on the middle, while specialists can be on the middle or on the left or right. It depends on the strategy. So highly skilled playmaker position is a very important for thinking about the attacking strategies. So as a coach, try to determine the specific goals for this position and try to make a selection according to your goals. That leads to the question of the highly skilled playmaker position that gives you the opportunity to lead the game in a proper way. On a proper way you want to play. So, meaning that you need to have a lot of trust in this playmaking position. Here, I will just show you two videos with two different attacking strategies that usually almost all teams are using. So when the specialist is on the middle, so he's a playmaker as well in that case. So this was just showing that the specialist is in the middle, and on the other side, our playmaker is in the middle, while the specialist is on the left wing. So those two tactics we used during the World Championships most. When you put together good playmaker position and also combining with the well-balanced team, then you can get versatility within the team. I didn't talk about I didn't thought about it during the World Championships because I was in the game. But later, when I did the video analysis for this presentation, I found out that the opening game for our team resulted with 6 different solutions in 6 first attacks. So with the opening game, we showed that we are versatile and that we are well balanced. So here I will just show you those 6 attacks where playmaker first in the first one just passes the ball to the assist to the specialist. So this is the first one. The second one, just try to look at this at the movements of our playmaker that really moves well and frees a lot of space for the right wing. So this was the second one. The third option was just to play assist from right wing to the pivot. And the fourth one, assist to pivot from the playmaking position. Fifth one was just the playmaker solve the situation by its own. And the sixth position was that pivot solve the situation by its own. I need to say that Uruguay defense was great in almost all the cases here, but when you have versatile and well-balanced team, it is hard to defend since there are 4 players instead of 3 were in the defense, of course. So I would just like to point here how do we train these aspects. Usually we encourage this type of action during the regular practices by limiting players to shoot after only a few passes. So with the ball always coming from another player. In this way, the players are forced to think quickly and solve the situations in the best possible way they can do for their team, of course. We usually force also the playmaker to make the decisions in short time. So during the practices, we often play just under the pressure of passive play, and that gives the playmaker the smaller amount of time to solve the situations, which is good later for the attacking strategy during the championships. Also, what is one of the most important things is that each player has freedom to do what he thinks he needs to do. So there's no limits. Just put the player on the field and just play. Since you have one player more in the attack, just be creative. But still, if in case that this creativity fails, predetermined game moves, or we call it, of course, actions, needs to be arranged. But we use them only in case that something goes wrong and to interrupt the negative goal attempt series, for example. So, as I said, remember, beach handball is an easy game, at least in attack part, since you have one player more. In the defense part, it is a quite opposite story. But beach handball is an easy game, and just put the players to have freedom to choose whatever they need to choose in the during the game. Also, the playing style is important for each team. So for sure, when attacking, you need to have more possibilities. Why? Because if something is wrong, you can adjust it more easily. During, for example, 10 minutes of each set, it is a pretty short period. There is not much time to adjust if something goes wrong. And that is the reason why you have, or why you should have 2, 3, or even 4 options to choose from. Then you can practice those 4 options, and then based upon the quality of the opponent teams and their ability to adapt to your team's playing system, then you can choose between those 4 options, 3 or 4 options, depends how much you do have. So how did Croatia play during the World Championships? I would say nothing special, because we did what almost all other teams also are doing it. So maybe one thing is that we 5 or 6 years ago, we started with 3 changes as an intermittent part from transitioning from defense to the offense. We changed 3 players. And why we decided to do it? Because there is a lot of energy saving in this situation, and also we can focus, the players could focus more only on defense or only on attacking. So that showed as a good starting point for our players in most of the cases. And also regarding the attacking strategies, first option was to have a playmaker in the middle and the specialist on the left or right wing, but mostly on the left wing during this World Championships. And the second option was to have the specialist in the middle. Only in few games we played this option. But as I said, almost all teams are doing like this, so it's not something new. It is not something innovative. It is regular beach handball today. What matters most to us, I think, those are the small segments, game segments that we practice during the preparation time. And for example, fast breaks are really important for our attacking strategy, because we always aim for fast breaks, no matter from which position. Meaning that for us, it is not important whether we want the ball within the player's field or within the goalkeeper's field. We will always aim for fast breaks. Here, I just pointed a few examples of the fast breaks with the goalie as an assistant. For example, after the line has been whistled, as you can see, the line has been whistled. And
now then, just a second, I'll jump in once again. If there's an opportunity or availability to play the videos in full screen, so they can be viewed better if it's possible. If it's not, then
I'm not sure that it is possible. Maybe it is possible, but now I cannot.
No problem then. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry to jump in.
No problem.
I'll go back.
Okay. So after the line has been whistled, but it is just the example. Maybe it can be visible. I think it's not so important. Those important parts I put in on the whole screen. I didn't want to have I don't know 50 slides, so that was the reason. And the second example is after goal has been conceded. As you can see, the ball is already always close to the goalkeeper. Then it is greater chance to pass the ball faster to the attacking player. Also, with the player as an assistant, we can distinguish three situations like after the out. So the player just gives the ball to the attacker fast. Then after offensive foul has been made here of this player here. So you need to check this look because when the ball is in our possession, only thing that defensive players are doing is just to see the attacking player and is he positioned well for doing the fast break. And the third option is after the interception. Left back, our back here. And he is assisting for doing the spin shot. So fast breaks are really important part of the transition and important part of the game. So it should be practiced a lot, I would say. Other details important for the game are listed here. So obviously it is important to not lose the ball. If you want to score the goal, you need to have the ball possession. So it is really important thing to, and it could be also practiced. Also throw in at the beginning of each period is very important to practice, because practicing of this game segment can give you 2, 3, or even four ball possessions per each game. If you have 2 golden goals as well, you can count on 4 ball possessions. It is a lot. Also, you need to consider to practice a lot of playing with one player less, 3-on-3, since almost always during the game, at least one attack will be 3-on-3 after suspension. Also, where possible, try to think about getting the ball in your possession. It is very important to have ball, higher ball possessions. You need to battle for each ball. You need to be well positioned on the court in order to get the higher probability to gain ball possession, etc. So, but if we put all mentioned game segments that I mentioned before together, would it be enough for success? Maybe. For success, yes. Since I would just now want to say a few words about the difference between success and competitive greatness, as Coach John Wooden defined it. So I would like to use this opportunity to cite John Wooden. John Wooden is one of the best basketball coaches ever that won, I think, 10 titles of with UCLA NCAA basketball team, and he said, and he defined the success, that success is a peace of mind which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you did your best to become the best that you are capable of becoming. So meaning that best that you are capable of becoming. So that each of us can consider as a success. But for competitive greatness, you need to have all of these things. He defined it very well in the Coach Wooden's Pyramid of Success that was published years ago. And this pyramid is built of building blocks, and I will not mention all those terms now, but all those terms are really important in order to get and reach competitive greatness. And of course, that I agree with this. This building blocks, everything is really important. But I will just, from the perspective of beach handball coach, I will just put a few additional building blocks, such as commitment, respect the opposing team, communication among the players, sacrificing on the court, meaning that you need to battle for each ball equally. And then also you need to, as a coach, you need to be calm almost all the time. Not almost, all the time you need to be calm. On these terms, I will try to just put some video clips to explain what I thought about. So regarding commitment, it is important that each player within the team has good that he has a good position, and he need to know what he needs to do. So each player needs to be valuable for your team, and if that player will be successful in accomplishing this personal things within the game, then he will be successful in it. We can distinguish two types of commitment. I would say individual commitment for each person separately, and team commitment when you put all those individual commitments together. In this case, we can see this defensive player that works well in the defense. What is his task to do it? Although it is not granted for our team because the goal was scored, but he, in that case, was successful. He did everything what he needed to do. So that's it. That is commitment to individual commitment. Regarding the team commitment, it is nice to see a few players how they build that team commitment by doing the job they need to do. For example, this here, defensive player started with the individual commitment. After that, you will see the great reaction of the goalkeeper, and after that, you will see the great fast break pass to the attacker that will score the fast goal. So here it is. Meaning that all of those players knew what needs to be done. And also, if you see, that was starting the second period of the semifinal game against Greece, when we lost the first period. Opening action was like this, meaning that in that case, you know that your team is focused and that everything is well done. Also, here you will see the communication among the players. That is really important part of the game, especially in the defense, but also sometimes in the offense as well. Here, the sound is the volume is up. So just to hear this communication that has been recorded after the ball has been won from this defensive player, and the ball possession is in the hands of the central defensive player. The first one says to him that he got the free attacker on the fast break position. So this communication is really important to reach the goal. The sound is being delayed a little bit, but he said it earlier. You got him, and then he's just transferred the ball to the attacker. So it is also a good way of communication among the players. Also, what matters a lot, at least for me, is to have mutual respect and respect to the opposing team. In those two situations, you will see this kind of mutual respect, and in my opinion, this is how beach handball should be presented publicly. After the fouls, the shake has been, the hands have been shaked, and yeah, small hug, small smile. That's it. So this is really important to have mutual respect from each team, and also on the second situation as well. It is really important to, even though it is a final game, so it is the stakes are high, but don't. It is important to not forget that fair play is the main rule in beach handball, and it should be really publicly presented like this. Also, sacrificing on the court, you need to have the players that are really battling for each ball. So there is no lost ball until it is really lost. So here you can see this. First player and the second player tries to save the ball, and at that time, if you succeed to save only one ball possession during the game, chances that you will win the game increases high statistically. Also, here is one negative example of the coach, and it is a stupid move that I have been done in the final game during the last moments in the first period. So, as the coach, try to never lose your head. Here, I lost my head. No matter what the referees whistled, I lost my head, and it was not appropriate. And I was just granted after that by suspension, and I easy the things to the opponent team. So please try to avoid these situations. But all of those things that I mentioned before, I would say that those things to make a competitive greatness are important. But in a tight game, you need to have focused individuals. In our case, in the semi-final and final games, you need to have a focused goalkeeper that really did the job well. For example, in semi-final game, he saved 2 shootouts. That was the first one, and the second one. Also, in the final game, the result was tight in both sets, and our goalkeeper had saved the goal in the very last minutes in both periods. As you can see here, the result is, I think, equal here, or 1 or 2 for us, for Croatia, but 10 or 15 seconds until the end. So you need to have this inspiration for the focused goalkeeper in order to reach the top podium. This is the second period where he also had great saves. In the last minute. So as you can see, it is also really, really important to have individual like this in important games. Without this, you can be good, but you will not reach the top podium. So now I'll just put on one slide, take a few take-home messages, and to conclude this presentation. When you do the selection, you need to do the selection based on your requirements and according to your needs. Then you need to find the perfect set of skills each player possesses. For example, commitment or willing to sacrifice are highly admirable skills within each for each player. Then you need to, when you have all those players together, you need to prepare them well for each competition. Then during the preparation, you need to consider about practicing all those small things that I put now in the presentation. And at the end, you need to use the tactics as a real weapon when tight games appear. So this is just to remember a few things for later. So thank you very much. Thank you a lot for listening me. If you will have more information or anybody from you will want to discuss about the beach, well, here are my personal data, so you can just write me an email or call me. I'm always eager to discuss about beach handball, of course. Thank you, and thank you all for the attention.
Mladen, thank you very much for being so open and sharing your telephone number and email. But we have some questions in the Q&A part of this seminar. The first one should be, does the physical fitness of the players matter? And how can a team or a club work to select capable players?
The physical fitness, of course, matters, but it is not I would say, the most important things. I would say that you need to be well prepared, because nowadays, maybe 20 years ago, you shouldn't, on the early beginnings of beach handball, you could do it without good preparation, because teams 20 years ago had maybe 2 or 3, 5 days of preparation. That was it. But nowadays, you need to have 3 weeks or 1 month in order to be well prepared. But it is not the if you think about the physical fitness as working like in gym, only in the gym, it is not so relevant, I would say, in beach handball. More that freedom of freedom in the game, choosing the best option in the game, individuality, that is more appreciated, I would say, than physical fitness. For example, in Croatia case, we didn't have a lot of players that are Apollons or Thor. And no, we were just regular guys, but we used used brain, or maybe because of that.
One more question. You were also talking about mistakes midway in your presentation. What are the biggest mistakes in attack that one team could make to hamper their chances of winning a game?
The biggest mistake is to lose the ball. I always say, and it can be practiced also during the practice preparation period. You need to appreciate this ball and not try to focus on not to lose the ball, because when you lose the ball within the field, fast breaks occur. The morale of the team decreases, so it's really not a good situation. If you do everything what needs to be done, and if you create a good situation and then you miss, then it is not a problem. But if you just are not focused enough and lose the ball within the field, then I would say that it was the mistake, yeah, that needed to be avoided.
One more question is with regards to young players which are developing and starting to emerge in their teams. What are the most important tips that are given to them to develop the attacking capabilities of a team? So how do you train young players to develop in attack and maybe not do so many mistakes and, like you said, not to lose the ball?
Now we of course, each team needs to develop young players and introduce the young players to the senior team. But it is possible to create a system because there are a lot of national selections, competitions for younger age categories as well. So if you create the system where your younger team plays similarly like a senior part, then they will get known about these issues, about these special tactics, for example, also in the youth category. But when they come to the national senior selection, then I just tell them to listen to older players, because older players are eager to transfer their knowledge to the younger ones, and they really learn fast. They will learn fast, and if they will lose the ball fast, they will not. It will not be good on the practice, of course. So they adapt it very fast.
One other question is in regards with physical preparation. Is the preparation for the players only done on the sand, or are there any other methods of preparation and improving your skills?
No, we just use the court for the preparation. Although I need to say that last 2 years we have a conditional trainer as well. So each practice he has maybe 15 minutes to do this part, but always on the sand, nothing more than sand.
One other attendee said that he couldn't understand very well what you said about your behavior during the match, the final. And could you tell us what happened there and why should a coach
here
do not do this type of
yes,
protesting to the referees?
It was it was a tight game. It was a golden goal in the semi-final match. So it is, I would say, pretty important game. Yeah, and then I just reacted on the way I didn't need to react. So just a second to remove the laser. So I'll just put this. You just watch me as a coach side. So here it was a, you know, you can see me how I'm jumping toward the referee and putting my hands on my head. So it was not proper behavior, and I just got suspended, and then Greek players went 4-on-2 on this attack. I lost my head, and I did a huge mistake. So when I when I watched this after 1 year, I'm embarrassed, So I just don't want to repeat it again.
One other question, what is the best way to train a wing player?
It is an excellent question. Since it is a great one, I would say, because in beach handball, you can put goalkeeper from indoor on the goal. There are some specificities, but if you are good enough on the indoor, you will be good enough also. If you put the specialist position indoor, the movements are pretty similar. But for the wing players, it is a completely different situation, because the movements and the positions for the goal are completely different. And that means that for making a good wing in beach handball, it requires more time than to create a good pivot or a good specialist or good goalkeeper. So it is a good one, and it can be discussed further, but it requires time, and it requires practice during the games that are not so maybe top highly ranked. Correct wing player need to have a lot of games in his legs from the lowest tournaments until the top of the tournaments. So.
And one other question in regards to Croatia, how long is the preparation for Croatia before a World Championship? How much time do you have for this?
Last year we had, I think, three weeks. It was a 3 weeks preparation period. So we always tend to have at least 2 or 3 weeks, but sometimes it is impossible. For example, for this European Championships, it will not be possible because indoor season is still running, but it is a situation for all countries. The same situation is for all countries. But I would say that 3 weeks is an optimal preparation period. Of course, if you have more time, then it is even better. But 3 weeks is optimum to create everything and to do everything what you plan to do.
Saying at Croatia, because obviously you are the coach of the team and you know it very well, how do you manage to finance? You've spoken a bit during the seminar. How is beach handball finance in Croatia? And can you share this info, please?
Yes, of course. As I said, we are pretty lucky regarding this financing thing because all of those national selection actions are covered by our Croatian Handball Federation and our National Olympic Committee. So regarding this, all costs are fully covered. We don't have any problems with this. What can be improved, of course, is to have to develop the system of national championships better. But this regarding the national selections, we haven't missed any of the competition. And also when the youth tournaments, youth selections started, we also started by doing this, and we also have never missed the tournament for younger generations, younger categories. And in my opinion, it is a very important part because it is much easier to recruit and to motivate the younger players when you tell them, okay, come to practice for 1 month and then you will maybe get in the national selection. And after a while, you get a lot of young beach handball players that will sooner or later become a part of the national senior selection as well. So we are okay with the finances regarding the national selections, but this national championships could be improved. Yes.
We've talked about the wings in beach handball, but can you tell me, or can you tell us, because there is a question not asked by myself, what are the most important characteristics for a specialist?
For a specialist,
Yes.
a specialist needs to have a good brain, a good way of thinking, and he also, of course, he needs to be skilled enough to play on the sand. Maybe not so, even maybe fastness is not so, so important, but he needs to know how to think, and he needs to have this capability of keeping the ball safe until the very last moment before the assist, before the scoring the goal. So I would say that is the important thing for the specialist.
And another question is your best formation for an attacking team. Somebody wants to know that.
Best formation for attacking team. It depends on the players you have. You cannot generalize this this option. For me, when I have a good playmaker, like we did in World Championships, then the best position is that one that makes that playmaking position that I don't know how to say, that he will look
Best.
best.
He will improve. Yes.
Yes.
It will improve his chances to work better and play better.
Yeah, that's it. So in that case, we like to play the specialist on the side, on the left side, and because according to our players' skills, we can, of afford this, and because we are really well covered on each position, so maybe that option is the best for me. Only have playmaker on the middle, and the left side is covered by specialist. Yeah, because in that case we also can have more options, because that left winger of ours is great in the defense as well, so we can adjust it more easily.
You've told us about players who came to beach handball from other sports. One question is in regards to that. Is it possible to bring in volleyball players and rely on them so that they have the most important, because they have the most important element, which is rising?
As a matter of fact, we had a few volleyball players, and some of them were also candidates for the national selection, because volleyball players are highly trained to do the great vertical jump. So if you put this volleyball player on the pivot position, he will do better jumps than any handball player will do. So, but then you need to work with him on the shooting strategy. But definitely, for example, for the pivot position, for in-flight goals, it is a great option.
Another question, because beach handball is quite a young sport, so can you tell us how a structure of training in beach handball by age would look like?
By age?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I'm not the right person for that, because we from the early beginnings we are starting to do with the kids. We have the tournament at the beginning of May, when we have a lot of younger teams, maybe under 13 or under 14. So those are kids 13, 14 years old, and we do the similar things like like the seniors do. So there is no much difference, except that maybe we introduce more beach handball to them as a game. So we have more games in which we introduce beach handball moves and steps within those different games. So that is maybe just a little difference, but almost the similar things we are doing with the younger ones and the grown-ups.
Mladen, thank you very much. This is the end of our session, the inaugural session for the IHF Beach Handball Education Week. Hope you understood everything, hope you liked it, and you found many interesting informations from Mladen. Tomorrow we will be also here starting 13 CEST, that's Central European Standard Time, with another topic, the preparation of a national team on the way to a top event. Thank you once again for attending. Thank you once again, Mladen, and have a very nice day.
Thank you very much. Bye.